welcome to IFA's 55th Annual Convention. It's great to have all of you here with us in Las Vegas. The video you just watched highlights some of the extraordinary public policy headwinds we are facing as an industry. But we are also achieving historic milestones and achievements as an organization. You will see our 2014 annual report on your respective tables. It highlights our goals and objectives in 2014 to protect, promote, and enhance franchising. To remind all of you, and I think Steve may have mentioned, our strategic priorities are government relations and public policy, media relations, and professional development. We are at all-time highs in terms of numbers for membership revenue and overall membership ranks, and that's across all three major categories: franchisees, franchisors, and our great supplier partners. We have just set an all-time high this year in convention attendance with over 3,800 attendees. Our previous high was 3,561 2 years ago in this same venue. Just before I came on, I got an update. We are now at 3,882 against a budget of 3,600, so thank you very much. That's fantastic. We had nearly 30 national TV broadcasts last year. IFA's revenue has grown 60% from 2010 to just over 16 million in 2015. To meet the increasing public policy challenges head-on, IFA staff has grown from 32 to 47 employees since 2010, an increase of 47%. We have added highly respected Capitol Hill, state government relations, regulatory affairs, communications, and public affairs veterans to an already outstanding team of trade association professionals. Also impressive is that our industry continues to outpace growth of the overall U.S. economy for the 5th consecutive year. Our 2015 economic forecast, which it's almost always spot on, by the way, states that we'll add 247,000 jobs this year based on 2.9% growth, and that's coming off 235,000 jobs in 2014. We'll add over 12,000 new establishments across all sectors of franchising based on 1.6% growth, and $45 billion in new sales based on 5.4% growth. And I think it's also important to note that franchises employed 7.1% of private sector workers in 2014 and created 10.8% of all new jobs last year. Franchising now represents over 3% of U.S. GDP. But as you know, and as you heard from Steve, our industry is increasingly under attack. Discriminatory wage hikes at the municipal level, as you just saw in the video. I will be in Seattle on March 10th when IFA's legal counsel presents our oral arguments in the lawsuit we have filed against the city. If you are a non-franchise business with under 500 employees, you get 7 years to get to the new $15 wage. If you are a franchise business with under 500 employees, you get only 3 years to get to the $15 an hour wage. So the City Council and the Mayor lumped our hardworking franchisees with corporate behemoths like Boeing and Starbucks. It creates an uneven playing field for our franchisees. And get this, they said franchises were corrosively divisive to the city of Seattle. How does that make you feel? Bottom line, this new law is blatantly unfair, discriminatory, and it's unconstitutional. Now the city understands that we, the IFA, will use every arrow in our quiver to protect the 600 franchisees that operate 1,700 locations and employ 19,000 workers in Seattle. Additionally, we are also I'm excited to get to Seattle. I think we have a great case. And additionally, we are also dealing, as you heard, with the National Labor Relations Board and their recently politically motivated definition of what constitutes a joint employer at the federal level, but more on that in a minute. Franchise relationship, independent contractor, and retail Bill of Rights, to name a few, legislation at the state level, attacks being led by the Service Employees International Union and organized labor at all levels of government. Their goal is to try and break the franchise model to increase their dwindling private sector membership ranks. That's what it's about, and here's why. Private sector union membership was at an all-time high in the mid-1950s, and it is now down to 6.9% in 2015, the lowest number in 70 years. And here's some additional context. In a sworn statement, David Meinert, a Seattle business owner and member of the Mayor's Minimum Wage Advisory Task Force, said this: "The purpose behind treating small franchise businesses as large employers under the minimum wage law was to break the franchise model and enable unions to organize employees at such businesses." This is pretty egregious. The recent and pending NLRB actions at the federal level, redefining the long-standing definition of what constitutes a joint employer, clearly represents an existential threat to our industry as a whole. Last July, the NLRB announced that it would charge McDonald's Corporation as a joint employer of its franchisees' employees in alleged unfair labor charges brought by unions. In other words, under this ruling, despite the fact that for many decades the NLRB and the Internal Revenue Service and the Federal Trade Commission and the Small Business Administration, for that matter, has recognized that the relationship between the franchisee and the franchisor is one between two separate entities. A franchisor, for the first time, can be held liable for its franchisees' labor practices over which the franchisor has no direct control. This is the fire of the day, ladies and gentlemen. This ruling is a direct threat to the basic foundational principles that have made the franchise model such a great success. And organized labor and Richard Griffin, the NLRB's general counsel, and David Weil, the Department of Labor's wage and hour administrator, wanted to destroy it. Make no mistake about it. This issue has huge complications for everyone in this room. Let's think about this for a minute. Why would any aspiring entrepreneur want to invest in a franchise business if they were not going to have the freedom to run it? Why would an existing franchisee want to expand their network under this scenario? So here is what would happen. Fewer new franchise businesses would open. Fewer jobs will be created. Ultimately, this consolidation would turn franchisees into a role similar to that of a store manager, or worse, put them out of business. Now, who thinks that's good for this country? Who thinks that is good for aspiring small business franchise owners? Well, we can't let that happen. Bill Rosenberg, the founder of Dunkin' Donuts, and a few other enlightened leaders had the foresight in 1960 to create the IFA to protect the industry from bad laws and costly, burdensome, and unnecessary regulations. So here we are in 2015 and being challenged like never before, which means we need your help like never before. We've created the Franchise Action Network. You heard IFA's chairman Steve Joyce talk about it. Let me stop for a second. I want to tell you what a privilege it's been to work with Steve. Politically savvy, an incredible executive, and I look forward to our dinners once a month. Why? Because we had a lot of issues to talk about. 2, we always had great wine. And 3, we shared many laughs, and I want to thank him for being a great friend and a great mentor. He's been a great chairman, and while I have the stage, I would like to personally express my gratitude to him. Let's give him a round of applause. And because of Steve's leadership, the FAN was created to educate, mobilize, and activate franchisees and all segments of the industry to political action in all 435 congressional districts and in all 50 states on a multitude of public policy issues. As part of the FAN, we started the Coalition to Save Local Businesses with 16 other trade associations last week, and this list will continue to grow. This coalition will serve as the vehicle to eventually pass legislation to preserve current law and halt the NLRB from expanding the joint employer standard. This coalition is for preserving job creation. This coalition is for preserving small business ownership opportunities. So please sign up at savelocalbusinesses.com. FranPAC, the IFA's Political Action Committee, is now a top 25 political action committee in Washington, reaching nearly $1.3 million in the 2013-2014 election cycle, thanks to many of you here today. But we need more folks in the industry, in fact, in this audience, quite frankly, to step up and support the PAC so we can continue to effectively educate members of Congress on the time-tested and proven franchise model. All of us are here today because we derive all or part of our income from this great industry. So we collectively need to step up and support FranPAC. Let me also say thank you to the 86 individual donors who maxed out last year at the 5K level to FranPAC. You see their names on the screens. We also need increased engagement and financial support for the Franchise Action Network. The IFA board smartly and proactively allocated several million dollars over the past year under Steve and the board's leadership to launch the FAN, and we've raised almost another $2 million from IFA member companies since midsummer of 2014. But we need to raise at least another $3 million by the end of 2016 to successfully run the type of campaign that allows us the best chance to win. I am respectfully asking all of you to consider contributing. There's a form on your table. We can accept both corporate and individual donations for both the Franchise Action Network and the Coalition to Save Local Businesses. It's time to act. It's time to get involved. And yes, it's time to contribute if you can. Every dollar is important, as now is the time to protect this great industry. It is not going to get any better for the next 2 years at a minimum. And this much I can guarantee you. Our focus to protect and advance this industry will not waver on my watch, or this board's watch, or my hard-working and talented staff's watch. So I want to thank you for your unwavering support during these extremely challenging times. We do truly appreciate it. And thank you as well for your time today. Have a great convention and enjoy Las Vegas. Thank you very much.